You scroll through your feed and it's just a constant stream, right? Birthdays, gym selfies, vacation photos, everyone is posting their life online. But today, we're going to talk about the people who don't. Let's get into the pretty fascinating psychology of not posting.
We all have that friend, don't we? They're on social media, they'll watch your stories, they might even like your photos. But if you go to their profile, it's a ghost town. No selfies, no life updates, nothing. So the big question is, why? Are they just shy? Or is there something way deeper going on here?
So to really understand why someone would opt out, you got to first understand the game they're deciding not to play. And let's just call it what it is, the validation machine. See, social media has basically created this world where our attention is currency, and that currency buys validation. Every single like, every comment, every share, it's all been perfectly designed to feel like a little pat on the back for our brain. It's a system built to keep us hooked. And what's really wild is the actual science behind this whole thing. It's called a dopamine feedback loop. Basically, a notification pops up on your phone, and your brain gets a tiny little hit of dopamine. That feel-good chemical. And that feeling makes you want to do the thing that got you the reward in the first place. And this breaks it down perfectly. It's so simple, but it is incredibly powerful. So, step 1, you post a photo. Step 2, the likes and comments start rolling in. Step 3, boom, there it is, that little dopamine rush. And that leads right to step 4. You start craving more. It's a loop that is, honestly, very hard to break. Okay, so why do some people just step off this merry-go-round completely? Well, the first big reason tells us a lot about their mindset, and it all comes down to control. A lot of times, the people who don't post just get the internet in a way many of us choose to ignore. They really understand that once you put something online, it's basically there forever. For them, the choice is crystal clear. Privacy is way more valuable than popularity. And this all boils down to having really clear boundaries. For them, social media is a tool. It's for communication, it's for getting information. It is not a place to build and document their identity. Their real, authentic self, that exists offline, first and foremost. Okay, so the second big reason is less about the outside world and way more about what's going on inside. It's all about self-worth. It really just comes down to this one question. Where does your validation come from? Over here, you've got external validation. That's the engine that social media runs on. Likes, comments, shares, it needs an audience. But over on this side, you've got internal validation. This is fueled by your own accomplishments, your skills, your personal growth. Non-posters, they tend to live on this side of the chart. And because their self-worth isn't tied to all those online numbers, they can do something really powerful. They can just opt out of the comparison game. They see that so much of social media is about comparing lifestyles, who's on a better vacation, who looks happier, and they see how bad that can be for your mental health, so they just choose not to play. And all of this leads us to the final piece of the puzzle, and it's a pretty fundamental difference in how they see life itself. It's about living, not performing. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. For them, a vacation is a memory, not a photo shoot. This means the experience itself, being there, feeling it, that's the reward, not the picture you post for everyone else to see. And here's another one that drives that same point home. A sunset is an experience, not a story. It's about being fully present in your own life, instead of constantly curating it for an audience. That's a pretty huge shift in perspective. This kind of behavior often points to someone being a really independent thinker. Social media is all about trends, right? The same photo poses, the same filters, the same challenges. People who don't post are often the ones questioning those trends instead of just hopping on board. Psychologists might say they have low social conformity. They make decisions based on their own logic, not on what everyone else is doing. But, and this is so important to get, it's more complicated than that. Not posting doesn't automatically mean someone is more enlightened or has it all figured out. Sometimes the motivation can actually come from a place of insecurity or low self-esteem or worries about body image. At the end of the day, human behavior is messy and complex. There's never just one simple answer. So what's the big takeaway here? I think it's this. In a world that is completely obsessed with showing everything, with performing our lives 24/7, maybe the most powerful decision you can make is choosing what not to show. In a way, choosing privacy and just living your life becomes this quiet, radical act.
Which kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. In a world that counts value in likes and shares, it really makes you stop and ask yourself, what's worth more than a post?